It's a phenomenal you, it's a phenomenal me, it's a phenomenal day. It's a phenomenal you, it's a phenomenal me, it's a phenomenal day. You've got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Well, hello, phenomenal people. How are you? I am super excited about this guest that's on the show tonight. I am in the home of my girl, my friend, my mentor, and the prophetess, Tonya Parker. I call her the Destiny Provoker. So she'll tell you a little bit about who she is, why I call her that, and her prophetic ministry.
God bless you, woman of God. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been a long time coming. If you know anything about me, you know I don't like the camera. I really don't like the mic, contrary to popular belief. But I really don't. But when God has something to say, then we have no other choice but to come forth. As you were saying that you referred to me as a destiny pusher, I was reminded once this young lady came to me at the end of one of our prophetic conferences, and she said that the Lord said that I was a prophetic promise pusher.
Ooh.
And I began to say I had the P3 anointing.
Ah.
Because if you have a promise from God, if there is a destiny in God for your life, I'm just one that just choose to believe that you have no other choice but to get there.
That's right.
And so destiny, if you think about any conversation we've ever had, as long as you've known me for many years, destiny has always been a part of my vocabulary. Purpose,
Absolutely.
destiny. Everything has always led back to purpose and destiny in God.
Absolutely.
And that's just who I am. That's my DNA.
Okay, so you have a ministry,
I do.
and the name of your ministry is?
Trailblazers International.
So let's talk about what invoked you to start Trailblazers International.
Okay. Trailblazers was actually, it was a prophetic word that I received back in, I believe, like 1997. And this woman of God began to say that she saw me, and I was literally flying through this field that was just wheat everywhere. And as I was flying through that field, wheat was just being thrown in every direction, and I was literally plowing out this field. And she said, and I hear the Lord calling you a trailblazer. And it was at that moment that word trailblazer just began to turn in my spirit. I began to have all sorts of dreams concerning that thing. And like any promise, then God began to incubate that thing. You don't get the word and then you go right immediately. Most of the time, there is a time of, can somebody say process?
Process.
Yes. So there was a time of processing. And so literally 10 years later, we began to birth out Trailblazers International.
So where has Trailblazers taken you?
My God. I said recently, there are times that I sit at certain tables, and I literally, as whoever is talking, I say within myself, God, what did I do to get this type of favor on my life that you would afford me the opportunity to sit at the table among greatness, among kings and priests in the earth. And so, it has been our mission to prophetically activate and bring deliverance and healing across this nation. And anytime you deal with the prophetic, you're talking about a level of faith beyond anything that you've ever known. And, even in recent days, I have this thing. If God tells me to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't think twice about it. I don't think about the what ifs. I don't think about what I don't have. All I know is God told me to do it. And if he told me to do it, I have no choice but to do it.
Right.
And so even recently I was thinking about, I said, who has a conference, their very first conference, in a whole nother state, in a whole nother city where they've never been before. But all I knew was that God told me to go to Jacksonville, Florida for our first conference. All I knew is that I had a baby there that needed God in a way that she had not found there. And so whatever she needed, whatever the people of God needed, then I felt the responsibility to take it there. And so you know the story. We came to Jacksonville for a 3-day, not even a 1-day conference, but a 3-day conference. And I mean, the place was just, God had his people everywhere. Pastor Bishop now, Jackie McCullough, she was our first speaker, and I thank God for that. But Trailblazers, not only has it allowed me to help others blaze a trail, but I've blazed a trail even in the midst of helping others.
Oh, all right. Okay, so on that note, we're going to go on break. And when I come back, the question that I have for you is, have you always been like this? So we'll see you on the flip side.
Stand against the Lord, no one can.
So we are here at Precinct 2K17. It is sponsored by Trailblazers International. My sister, my mentor, my girl, Prophetess Tonia Parker. As you can see, she has School of Destiny. She does School of Prophetess. Here's her table. She has a book called The Chronicles of Destiny. So I want you guys to know that if you have not been here, if you missed it, you missed something, you can get the DVD, you can get everything that we talked about this whole weekend. But one thing I want you to know is there is destiny on the inside of you. And if you would like more information about the School of Destiny, go to trailblazersinternational.com. We are back. So, before the break, I said, have you always been like that? And there is a reason I asked that, because when I met Tonya Parker, who became Prophetess Parker, who's always had the prophetic call on her life, I was in church, trying to be church girl, but she was watching me. Okay? So I remember going to the altar. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember at the time, I'm putting it out there because me and you, we got it like that.
That's right.
At the time, there was a guy that was trying to date me, mm-hmm. and he was behind me. You know how we have folk behind. You know, at church, you got to catch folk when you're behind. Okay, so he had to go somewhere. He had to shift somewhere else. Uh-huh. And he said, can you come? Mm-hmm. And at that moment, you laid your hands on my back. Uh-huh. And from that day forward, mm-hmm. we was connected. So, when we had phone conversations, it went from, yeah, to, okay, I hear the Lord saying this. Mm-hmm. So, I want you to explain to the audience who you are, and have you always been like that, or how did you get that way?
Mm-hmm. First of all, you said he had to go somewhere else. He had to go somewhere else because I prayed him somewhere else. Okay. I can only explain it as to be God. Whenever I enter in a place, I was taught in the prophetic, you walk in the door scanning. Mm-hmm. Before they ever have an opportunity to pull their windows down, their shades down, you could say, "Oop, too late. I got you.
That's good.
Already there." Mm-hmm. And so you carry on and you listen for the voice of God. And so as I was in the service, and I see it even now before me, as I was in the service, and zeroed in on you, you went to the altar, and I began to pray. Well, when I come into the knowledge that there is a connection that God is doing, I may not know the fullness of it, mm-hmm. but I know that there is something. And when I came into the knowledge that, okay, there's something there, let me just pray. And it wasn't until after when I laid hands in your back, there was an instant connection right there. And so we began to build relationship, after that. And I do understand, people are not going to just trust you right off. And so you have to build that relationship. Hey girl, how you doing? Want to get something to eat? Whatever it takes. But you know what I'm saying? So we just have to really, really just learn as leaders to take our time with people. And if you take your time with people, people will know that you really care about them. You care about their destiny. And so that's what I did. And so, we've been, don't get me wrong now, we fight and we have fault. But one thing is for certain, we've always been there.
Right.
And that will never change. And have I always been that way? No, I haven't always been that way.
Okay.
But, I was forced that way.
Okay.
I was forced that way because guess what? Nobody did it for me. Nobody was there for me. Nobody looked out for me. It was always, what could she do for us? What are her gifts? What are her talents? How can we use this? How can we use that? There was never a time that I can honestly say that I totally felt protected, guarded, in any church ever. I can honestly say that, and that's no slight against any leader that I've had.
Absolutely.
Just like our parents, they do what they do the best that they can.
say that all
They
the time.
didn't recognize, possibly my needs and all of that.
Right.
But even in that, I'm so grateful because it caused me to look to God to fulfill every need. And so I remember crying out to God all the time. Oh God, I just wish I had a mother. God, why can't you send me a spiritual mother? And I remember the day in prayer, the Lord began to say, I'm going to teach you to be what you never had.
That is so good.
And so when I got it, my mind got it, then my spirit really got a hold of that thing. I stopped crying out for it and I started becoming.
I can't even stop. I don't know whether to cry.
Are you about to cry?
I'm just saying, it's so amazing because you became what you did not have. Do
Yes.
you know how amazing that is? Because a lot of people are very selfish, or a lot of people, not even just selfish, they tend to just cower down within themselves when they don't have that, or they play the blame game. But what you're saying is that I stepped up and I became what I did not have. Now that's the ultimate sacrifice. So let's talk about, I feel like that's how you became the destiny pusher, the
believe.
destiny provoker, because nobody just steps up. Nobody really just says, hey, I'm going to take over this. I'm going to do this. Few people. But I believe that that's why you are called to destiny. That's why you can push people into destiny. So talk a little bit about what destiny is and what it means to you.
When I think of destiny, I think of, why am I here?
Yeah.
Now that could make me cry. When I think of the fact that God looked out in nothing, the darkness over the face of the earth, over the face of the deep, he looked out into nothing and said, in 2017, I'm going to need a Tonya Parker to help provoke my people, help my people, show my people, lead my people to a certain place, to ignite, inspire my people to get to the place that I created even them to be before the foundations of the world. When I think about that, that's destiny to me. That's destiny to me. That's everything to me. That God had a need. And in spite of me being nasty, me being ugly, trifling, fornicating, whatever my vice was when I was not in God, in spite of all of that, he still had a need for me.
Y'all better hear that.
And then not only that, he gave me an ear to hear when he called me. And I answered. And if you know me, I'm all in or nothing at all.
Right.
And so I'm not gonna just say yes and have one foot in and one out.
Yeah.
That's not me.
That's right. That's not you.
I don't even know what it is to do that.
And you don't let folks around you be like that.
You're not ever gonna be like that.
Yeah.
No,
You don't
never.
let folks
We don't do that. We don't do that. If I love you, I don't care. I don't care where you are. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm thinking about, I don't care where you are. I'm there, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about when you were about to get married and the Lord said, no, not yet. And she said, I'm getting married and I didn't know it. And I got wind of it. And I called, I called you and I was like, hey, let me just come help you.
I was going to the courthouse.
She was just going to sneak to the courthouse, y'all. Knowing, I knew that if she laid eyes on me, that wasn't going to happen.
Ooh.
And she knew that. And so being that, she didn't let me come see it, y'all.
Yeah.
But even in that, when it didn't go just as you had hoped that it would.
Right.
I was mad.
Yeah.
Oh, I was mad because I always say, you just always keep us in something.
Yeah.
Always. Because the truth of the matter is, if I'm in covenant with you, if I'm connected to you, guess what? When you go through, I'm going through too.
That's right.
I refuse to allow anyone that I'm connected to be down and out, to be out there where the enemy can literally have his way. Not on my watch he won't.
I done lifted my hands.
Yeah,
y'all.
you did.
I did.
Not on my watch he won't. And so, being that connection, that covenant, that's everything to me.
Wow.
And all of that is a part of destiny.
It is.
It's a part of destiny.
It absolutely
Someone that God placed in your life that can literally take a look at you and say, I see where you are right now, but where you are is not where God destined for you to be. So guess what? I'm going to act how you want to act. I'm going to even let you act a certain way for a little while, but you're only going to go so far before I pull you back and say, let's go. So that's what destiny means to me. Let me pull
You
you.
didn't preach.
I didn't mean to.
I
didn't mean to.
You didn't preach. Okay, so we're going to go on break. We're going to talk about the School of Destiny because she has a School of Destiny. And we're going to talk about her phenomenal books that she wrote. Because just like she said, y'all, if you ain't ready, I'm telling you, don't come nowhere around her.
No,
for real.
no.
Because I'm just going to tell you before I go on break. Because when I'm ready sometimes, I'm better now. I'm fully ready. But I used to be ready sometimes and not ready at other times. And she wasn't having it. So I had to say, yeah, I'm gone. And she like, gone then. But we right back here. So we'll talk about the School of Destiny. We'll talk about the Chronicles of Destiny. And we'll talk about this other future book that I didn't know about on the flip side. So we'll see you in a minute.
It's a phenomenal you, it's a phenomenal me. It's a phenomenal day. It's a phenomenal you, it's a phenomenal me. It's a phenomenal day.
Well, hello, phenomenal people. Now, why do I say that all the time? Because I believe you are what you say you are. So now we have a new president. Now the lunch party is over and now the journey begins. Now, how does that begin? It begins by connecting with the right people. So go to my website, Phenomenon with Tonya. There's a list of workshops, summits, and the one thing I want you to do is stop living small, live phenomenal. And the other thing I want you to do is feel the fear and do it anyway. We are back. I mean, the break was crazy. Like, she is my girl. And it's like, we talk about stuff that is like, okay, did she really just put my business out there? Oh, she didn't put it on Periscope. We on Periscope. This is on YouTube. She didn't.
You overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of your
She
testimony.
done told them folks how to roll to the courthouse and got married. But anyway, all seriousness, that is a true sister. So I love you for that, and I thank you for being on the show. I mean, we're gonna have to do this like every week. This is gonna be we're gonna have to deliver some people. Yeah, because y'all gonna get delivered by the stuff she know about me. Y'all just think I'm on this camera talking, hello,
This is my test,
people. But truth be told, it's some things that really and truly that she does pull out of me that we really probably need to share. But right now, I want to talk about the School of Destiny. Yes. So let's talk about the School of Destiny. I said destiny.
Yeah.
And that is because it's destiny to me. But the School of Destiny has really seriously been a lifesaver for me.
Wow.
This is our last Saturday, right?
It is. It is.
But let's talk about it. Let's talk about, how you came about it and what it means to you and what's the future for the School of Destiny.
Wow. Again, as a trailblazer, you always need to be tapping into what is God saying next? What is he saying next? And I'm a firm believer that you can no one can go beyond the level of instruction that they have.
Right.
And so I see a lot of bloopers, blunders, and bleeps, out in Christendom. And so I just began to see a people that had giftings, that had callings, but they had nobody to train them. And they had no one to even tell them, you can do it. They had no one to cancel out fear and come up against fear that would keep them bound.
Right.
And so I began to seek the Lord as to what was the next move for Trailblazers, And I remember even a couple of years ago knowing by the Spirit that we were to have some type of, at that time I thought it was School of Ministry, and I knew that was going to come, but it wasn't until last year that the Lord said Trailblazers International School of Destiny.
I see it too.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah.
School of Destiny.
That's it right there. I see it.
I see it.
And so I said, yeah, that's it. No one has a School of Destiny,
Right.
And what I love about the School of Destiny is that, it doesn't just mean teaching you to go into this area of ministry, that area of ministry. But one of the focal points has been every good and perfect gift comes from God.
That's right.
So whether you're in the business world, in the class we have a chef, who's, I'm so excited, launching out into his business.
Right.
We have teachers that are we have 2 teachers that are getting ready to have their daycare, their summer camps. They're launching their camps. Then they're launching after school care with enrichment programs for kids. I mean, we have contract special. I mean, we have charter schools coming out, and this is like blowing my mind. Just what it's becoming, know. And so in that, so I've had to, as tell everyone, all of that, all of who you are, it all came from God.
Right.
Because we have a tendency, especially as believers, we want to separate, well, this is who I am in church, but this is who I am in the business world.
That's right.
No, baby, that's who you are, period.
That's right.
And you just have to tap into how is it that God desires for me to flow when I'm on my job. I work for the federal government. I do training and development. Hello. So what do I do in School of Destiny? What do I do in the church? Training and development. So it's all a part. It's all who I am, period. And he just gives me the opportunity to perfect it on many levels.
Oh my God.
So I'm excited about the School of Destiny. We're finishing up our first quarter this Saturday, and we're so excited for you all. And I think for me, and I've said this several times, what's been the most exciting part has been the connections.
Right. Absolutely.
Has been the connections of those that are in the class. Oh, you need this. Oh, I got this. Oh, the different resources that are coming out of that class for one another. Oh, you need a business plan? I can help you do that. I can show you guys how to do your business plan. All of that has just been absolutely amazing. And that's how the kingdom is supposed to work.
You better say that.
That's the kingdom.
That is the kingdom.
That is the kingdom in motion all day long.
All day long. I remember when we used to say, this ain't church.
No, this
It's
is
the
kingdom.
But this ain't Sunday school. This
No.
the school of destiny.
School of destiny. School of destiny.
Okay, so let's talk about the Chronicles of Destiny.
Yes.
You know, what
yes.
inspired you to write this book and what it's about? I know it's about, but tell them what it is.
Well, the Chronicles of Destiny, it is a 40-day devotional that will help put your life back on track again. You know, a lot of people, they have come after they've started reading the book and they're like, oh my God, this is going on, that is going on, this is falling apart, that is falling apart. And it falls apart because what you thought was your norm, it really wasn't.
Right.
So now God is tearing all of that up, what you thought was the normal thing, and he's saying, now let me give you my divine plan.
Right.
And so it helps you day by day to put your life on track. We give you a prophetic word for that day that will help you with your area of focus, how you need to pray. We pray with you apostolically and prophetically at the end of each day.
Right.
And so that book has literally become a roadmap for many. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what area of expertise you're in. I literally have had executives to read that book and be like, oh my God. And I'm just like, what? Okay, all right. You know, because I can't take any credit for it. It's all God. And when it's all God, you literally become embarrassed when someone tries to give you an accolade for it.
Right.
Because
right.
you know that it was
wasn't you.
none of you.
Right.
But all of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walked in here tonight, I'm thinking I'm going to talk about the Chronicles of Destiny and the School of Destiny.
Yes.
So she pulled out this book, Mine Now for the Future Woman.
Yes.
And it's a collaboration of women,
Yes.
right? And so what is this about and what's your portion about?
Well, when the project was presented to me, the question was, what would you tell, being who you are now, what would you tell a woman in the future?
Oh, that's good.
And so
good.
it gave me the opportunity to literally impart wisdom into one of my sisters that's coming behind me.
That's still destiny,
It's
though.
destiny all day
It's still
long.
destiny.
And you know, the thing about that is when it comes to that wisdom, I love, you know, I'll bear everything that I've been through, everything that I will
And that
hold
I've been
nothing. Yours, tenacious, come on, Alex, if it's going to help those that I'm called to, I'll put it out there.
Right.
Because I just believe that if you have a real life example, if you can look at me and say, she what?
Mm-hmm.
She did. And God,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know God gonna use me. If he use her, oh, he gonna use me. Yeah. I'm called.
That's right.
And so for my piece in there, the Lord gave me the topic, Can't Stop Now, Destiny is Calling.
Ooh.
And so that was in spite of where you are, what you've been through. It doesn't matter what's coming up against you. You can't stop here.
That's right.
You can't stop. But even knowing that you cannot stop, here's the thing. I began to talk about the spirit of procrastination, the spirit of hesitation, because sometimes we can know that God has called us to do a thing, but then we allow fear and doubt and the naysayers and what are they gonna think? What are they gonna say to stop us and cause us to hesitate?
That's
And
right.
so guess what happens? We miss the moment.
That's right.
We literally miss the moment. God is moving, he's pushing, he's unctioning, and we're hesitating.
Right.
And so now, and here's the thing about when we hesitate to do what God has called us to do. There are people that are assigned to our lives. And so if I say, I can't do that right now, I'm not ready just yet, then guess what? Those people that are that prostitute that's out there on that street, if I'm assigned to bring her into the kingdom, she can't come until I say yes, until I get myself together.
Right.
If for that drug addict, if I'm assigned to bring him to the Lord and I won't come on and give God a complete yes. He can't come until I'm ready. So guess what? I cause those people to unnecessarily continue in the struggle.
Wow.
Because of my disobedience, because of my fear, because I'm so concerned about who's going to like it and who won't like it. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? When, you know what? Who cares what they think?
Girl, come give me some right on that. That was good.
Who cares? The only thing that matters is that we complete the will of God. That's all that matters.
Amazing.
That's it. I could care less. You know, I heard Dr. Stevenson the other night began to minister a message, and he began to talk about when you come into knowing who you are, when you find your place, the first thing that happens to you is that you get a spirit of I don't care. Now that was good to me. That was good to me. And when you know your destiny, when you know your purpose, when you know the reason for which God sent you into the world, you don't care.
That's right.
Only, my testimony is like Jesus. I came to do the will of him that sent me.
Wow.
That's all I care about. Yes.
You didn't preach tonight.
I didn't mean to.
You did. Yes, you did. You did mean to preach. So this was absolutely phenomenal. But I want you to look in that camera because we gotta let you go to sleep.
Yeah.
And tell them. We gotta let you go to sleep. You can talk to them. But anyway, look in that camera. Tell them how to find you, how to find these books. What's the next thing for Trailblazers? All of that.
Yes.
That's your camera look at.
All right. So, in order to find us, in order to follow us, you can follow us on social media. You can go to our website, www.trailblazersintl.org. You can look us up for what's going on, what's the next thing that we're doing. Even with the School of Destiny, we just did the Reset 2K17 conference in Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm telling you, I've been reset since the first one I went to in Houston in January. And God just keep doing a reset over and over again. And each time there's something else that he tends to reset. And so coming out of this last one that we did in Birmingham, the Lord, I've always been called so many times a Deborah. So many times. And, and I would be like, okay, yeah. But coming out of this reset, the Lord began to deal with me about Deborah, the Deborah anointing. And the Lord began to say, it was off of a word that Apostle Melvin Thompson gave me. He began to talk about the leaders that were upset with me. And he said that there were going to be more leaders that were going to begin to get upset with me because God was literally sending me in to rescue his daughters that had been mislabeled. They had been called evangelists.
Come on.
But you're really a prophet. And so it was from there. And then that night, my brother, Apostle Travis, got up and he began to talk and call me the modern day Deborah. And so it was from there. After I got back home, I began to, just ponder over the weekend and everything. And the Lord said, I want you to start your mentoring group. And your mentoring group will be called Deborah's Daughters of Destiny. For those that have been mislabeled. People have called you a certain thing, but God said, I know what they called you, but I never called you that. And so now he's calling you to get back to the divine plan. And there is something that I do want to say to the people before I go. This way I don't have to do my Periscope after this. But all day today, several times today, I've had several people to contact me. And somewhere in that conversation, I had to tell them it's time for a reset. It's time for you to reset because they had been so doing this, doing that, and the other, that they had literally gotten to a place that they didn't even know where they belong. That I asked one sister, I said, what do you like to do? What is it that you're doing that you feel that you're supposed to do? What is it that you're doing that will feed into your destiny? And her answer to me was, I don't know.
Wow.
And I said, well, baby, it's time for a reset.
Yeah.
It's time for you to break it all the way down.
Break it down.
Because sometimes you really do have to excavate. You really do have to go in and dig it up. Come on, you have to dig it up so that it can be properly built. And I said, so now you've got to reset, break it all the way down, and allow God to build it according to his blueprint.
That's amazing.
Because sometimes we have leaders, we have people, family, sisters, brothers, they mean well. Don't get me wrong, they mean well. But they put labels on us. They look at us and, denominations, this is the highest that you can go. You just this, and you're an evangelist, you're the chief evangelist. That's it, chief evangelist. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, principal evangelist. When God said, I know what they called you, but you better ask me what I called you. And so now he wants you to get back to the divine plan and begin to say, cry out to him and begin to say, God, what is it that you have for me to do? God, who is it that you've called me to be in the earth? And when you get that thing in your spirit, let me tell you something, people of God, don't you dare allow anybody to deter you from that thing. Don't you let nobody cause you to shift from that place, but you stay right there in the face of God and you begin to allow him to cultivate that thing. Let him grow that thing. Let him push you to the next place. Let him cause you to get around people that are going to rub you. Come on. That's going to push you beyond anything that you've ever desired to be pushed beyond. Why? Because you're needed in the earth. We don't need a duplicate. We don't need a copycat. Been there, done that. They gone. Thank you. Bye-bye. We need you. So in this season, God is calling for you. He's calling for the real you to emerge.
I like how you
Come
just
out.
preached.
Come out.
And then,
wherever
for
you
to
are.
serve.
That's what he says. Come out wherever you are.
That's awesome.
I don't care where you are. Come out.
She preaching.
Wherever you are.
She ain't heard nothing.
Come out.
Ooh.
Ish, wherever you are. God is sending his angels to escort many of you out. Prepare yourself, for this is your day of delivery. Come out, wherever you are. Thank you.
We finna fall out on the floor. Somebody passed out. My daughter over there, y'all, she clapping her hands. That's her goddaughter.
That's my goddaughter.
All I can say, this was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. Not just saying phenomenal, because that's the name of the show. This was absolutely phenomenal. Okay? So what I want you to do right now, and this is something that I don't ever do on the show, I want you to speak just a word. You already spoke a word, but just speak one word about feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
One of the greatest destiny killers is fear. But if you could just remember the word of God, God did not give you the spirit of fear.
Come on, it's a spirit.
Come on, because it is a spirit.
It's a spirit.
And so anytime fear is coming up against you, you got to automatically know this ain't God. So guess what? God is calling you to another place of boldness. If you're going to if you're going to achieve your destiny, you're going to have to be bold, baby. This is not a place for the timid. This is not a place for the afraid. You can't be Millie Mouse. We don't do Millie.
I done been called.
We don't do Millie. And she will tell you anytime Millie show up, I try to kill Millie.
Yeah,
because if I don't kill Millie, the enemy's going to kill her.
Right.
Come on. So listen, I don't care what you got to do. Feel the fear.
And do it anyway. Well, that's the end of our show. I love you. Thank you.
It's a
I don't have to say that.
phenomenal day.